Welcome to English 113, Prose Literature. Study Session 1. The meaning of prose literature. Introduction. This study session will provide you with alternative meanings and thorough explanations of the concept of prose literature. Prose literature is perceived and interpreted differently by literary scholars. Also, this study session will provide explanations on why it is necessary for you and other students of humanities and other related disciplines to have the knowledge of prose literature. When you have studied this session, you should be able to explain prose literature, justify the inclusion of prose literature in the study of English. What is prose literature? The word literature is any written or printed expression. Hence, we can regard as literature anything that is written down on any subject. Therefore, we have literature of history, religion, social sciences, science, and technology. The definition of literature depends on the angle from which we look at it. Literature as a specific brand of study. This idea conceives literature as a branch of study which any interested individual can venture into. Not only this, it sees literature as a product of our imagination and creativity, which is rendered in a very interesting language. Thus, we'll call this sense or concept of literature as creative or imaginative literature, because the situations in it are created or imagined. It is not real, but fictional. When real situations are involved, they are created and not presented as they actually happened or occurred, as you can find in history or religion. Literature, as a branch of study, is more interested in general or universal truths about human life and existence in any society. It is also concerned with the patterns which are created to expose human experiences. Literature is also subjective in nature because the writer is more interested in creating or manipulating the instrument of language in various ways that can put across his own vision of the world, not as it is often is. Aristotle, in his Poetics, sees literature as an imitation of life. However, in this definition, he believes that literature should be close to reality as much as possible. This is because imitation does not often portray a true picture, but a reflection. One word that often describes the closeness of literature to presenting real life is called verisimilitude. Therefore, one fundamental factor why prose literature is needful is its closeness to real-life situations. People in the humanities or arts such as English, philosophy, classics, religious knowledge, linguistics, communication arts, theater arts, and education require a good knowledge of prose literature as a genre of study, but it is educatively fascinating. Prose literature is a form of literary writing which is based on storyline. Prose is applied to all forms of written and spoken expression which do not have a regular rhythmic pattern. Usually, prose is without sustained rhythm regularity, but it has some logical, grammatical order and its ideas are connectedly stated rather than merely listed. The smallest unit in any form of prose literature is the paragraph. The actions or experiences are traced in an imaginative way such that no two writers create the same experience in the same way. A prose work can be descriptive, narrative, expository, dramatic, argumentative, technical, or scientific in nature. But literary appreciation is often based on narrative fiction. The most common form of narrative fiction are the novel and the short story form. Examples are A Walk in the Night by Alex Laguma, Old Man and the Sea by Ernest Hemingway, Animal Farm by George Orwell, Hearts of Darkness by Joseph Conrad, and Miriam Abbas' So Long, a Letter. Prose literature is also defined as a fictitious narrative of considerable length, in which characters and actions as representatives of real life are portrayed in a plot of more or less complexity. Prose literature is usually divided into episodes, sections, and chapters. Let us now take a look at the significance of prose literature. The significance of engaging in the study of prose literature is reflected in the following reasons. 1. Prose literature is about life. Even when a story is manufactured by the imagination of an individual, such a story will relate to life. However funny, sad, light-hearted, or serious any work of literature might be, it will have a reflection on life, either of an individual, a group of people, a language or cultural group, or of even a mixed society of diverse views and preoccupations. For example, George Orwell's Animal Farm reflects on the ideology of socialism, which was practiced in the old Soviet Union. Another significance of prose literature is that prose literature relates to society, to the people operating in that society, to individual or group behaviors, and to the culture of people from one society to another. An example is Chinua Achebe's Things Fall Apart and Bessie Head's A Question of Power. Another significance of prose literature is that it examines human values and relates to the readers those things which are common in human existence. Example is Aikre Amar's The Beautiful Ones Are Not Yet Born. A fourth significance of prose literature is that prose literature deals with particular and contemporary events and issues, or with attitudes and behaviors in contemporary and particular situation. For example, Kofi Awuno's This Earth, My Brother, published in 1971, portrays the ills of colonial administration, the antiquity of Ghana's corruption, and man's inhumanity to man is also clearly depicted. In J.M. Coates's In the Heart of the Country, published in 1977, Coates presents a parody of the Africana ideal of womanhood. He portrays how the women's stubborn courage made possible the survival of the Afrikaner tribe. These writings are varied accounts of Ghana and South Africa. Another significance of prose literature is that it refreshes the mind after a period of mental or physical exertion. A good example is Amos Tutuola's The Palm Wine Drunkard and My Life in the Bush of Ghost. A sixth significance of prose literature is that it broadens individual outlook by telling people what they do not know about their own culture and other cultures, and also by reminding them of aspects of their culture that have been neglected. Because people do not pay much attention to prose literature today, they have lost much contact with important aspects of their cultures, such as stories of creation, migration, war and valor, family history and lineage, and some important details of political evolution are getting lost. Prose literature can be an opportunity for the reader to learn about the history of his community and people, other communities and peoples. For example, Chinua Achebe's Arrow of God presents the culture of Igbo people of Nigeria. V.S. Naipaul's Migos Street also depicts aspects of West Indies culture and ways of life. Another significance of prose literature is that it improves our knowledge of English language by providing new opportunities for learning new idioms and expressions. Prose literature provides ample opportunities for extensive use of language devices. A lover of prose will not only pick up fresh and useful expressions in English, but he will also come across the intricate but correct use of words to construct sentences. For example, Festus Yayi, Ben Okri, Peter Abraham, Sembene Usman, Nuruddin Farah, Thomas Hardy, George Orwell, and Chinua Achebe are a host of other writers, write in simple but correct English. The eighth significance of prose literature is that prose literature helps our ability to read fast. Because of its volume, a lover of prose develops a critical eye to read fast with minimum vocalization. Students need to develop the ability to skim through words without missing important details, and a veritable training ground is prose literature. In this study session, we approached prose literature from three perspectives. First, prose literature is taken as a literary writing, which is based on a specific storyline. Second, it is regarded as a story of meaningful sequence of events structured in episodes. Third, it is described as a fictitious narrative of considerable length in which characters and actions are portrayed. Also, we learned that prose literature is needful to us as individuals. The knowledge of prose literature helps us to examine life and human values, deals with events both old and contemporary. Furthermore, it relates to society, it refreshes the mind, it helps in improving our knowledge of the English language, and also enhances our writing and reading ability. We have now come to the end of study session 1. Thank you for listening.